What's up, guys, and welcome back to the GGuard challenge. It's going to be another best of three, as they are always going to be for this challenge. GGuard going up against their new opponents, the NVidia Aces. So far, GGuard have given away one sack of cash, and, well, NVIDIA Aces, they're going to try for theirs. I'm Mikelorus, one of your casters, alongside with me, resident NC expert, Danelie. How are you doing?
Oh, expert, huh? Okay,
Yep.
I see my position in this now.
More so than I am,
Yeah.
so by comparison, you're
I guess
definitely an
so.
expert.
Yeah, I guess so. So, for everyone that had managed to tune in into yesterday's Best of Three series, if you haven't, then this is going to be some really nice insight for you. GGuard went up against MVP Hot 6 yesterday, and compared to the previous two series, they actually looked pretty shaky against MVP. First game, they managed to dominate MVP. Second game, they struggled during the early game. They managed to do okay during the mid, entering into the later stages, and then from that on, they just got pretty much torn to shreds through some really good initiation. Last game, GGuard was very, very off point. I feel that the second game really hurt their morale as a team, and it just goes to show how weak GGuard is. If they fall behind their drafts, they love to be aggressive. They love those aggressive heroes that come online early, and they love to grab those kills and go straight after the objectives. They don't really kind of go into that passive mode where they'll just farm as a team just to keep getting further ahead. They love to get it through kills. They love their objectives. So hopefully they come into this series with you could say, a better mindset up against Aces. This is going to be a fresh new series. So we'll see how they go. I don't really know too much about NVidia though, but all I know is that they are a Vietnamese team.
Yeah, and apparently they have NVIDIA's backing, so that's good enough for me.
Ooh.
That's some heavy stuff right there. But it is worth noting that that series that you were just talking about was GGuard versus MVP. Like, MVP, they
Yeah.
are, close to the top of the C scene as far as I'm concerned, so it's definitely stiff competition when you get up there. And Aces, by no means slouches, but it's hard to compare those two teams. Either way, we got ourselves a draft. Chen taking a rather early ban out as GGuard grab themselves Axe and Witch Doctor, Aces with the Shaker, and Queen of Pain. We can already see GGuard trying to shape their lineup into that more aggressive style that you were just talking about, and we'll see how deep they actually want to go into this.
Yeah, they're going to be going up against some aggression from Aces though. It looks like they're trying to gear themselves up for the early fights. I'm pretty sure Aces have done their research. They know how GGuard loves to play. So they're going to say, okay, if you want to go for the aggression, we're going to go for some counter aggression. We're going to try and win these fights. And from that point on, just start snowballing from there on. Yeah, I don't really know too much about NVIDIA, so I don't really know their play styles, which unfortunately for me, it's not really going to give us too much into what they really go for as a team.
And I
But
called
yeah,
you
I
an
guess
expert.
I'm not an expert,
Nothing but
man.
disappointment in this cast.
I'm
We're done.
sorry. I'm sorry. I
Game over.
failed.
Everyone go home. Okay, but no, really. Okay, we got a Zeus ban out now. Aces picking up Queen of Pain first, and we have been seeing a lot more teams decide to go for this. A lot more Queen of Pains in non-mid roles as well. I do think that she still is the best when she's put in towards the mid lane, but if you are willing to run a Queen of Pain safe lane, or hell, even a Queen of Pain off lane, I've even seen Queen of Pain 4-position support. Like, if you actually can pick a hero that can do any of those roles, then you're golden. Like, Zeus is another very similar hero in that you
Yeah.
see him a lot because he has mixed utility, but also he could go into any lane and do any role.
Yeah, if absolutely necessary, then you can be very flexible with your draft. I think we just have to take into consideration, though, can the players play those heroes in that role efficiently enough? Because you're taking a mid hero and you have to play it as a support. You have to play it incredibly differently to, we could say, for example, if it's in the mid lane, you are playing a very poor or under-leveled, for example, we'll just use a Queen of Pain since she is in the game, a Queen of Pain. She's going to be lacking levels. She's not going to be getting too many items. So it's a very different change of pace when you're trying to do something with a hero such as that Queen of Pain. But we could see it. These teams, we're in Southeast Asia. Anything happens down here.
No rules. There are no
No
rules
rules,
in
man.
Dota. Well,
Port Meepo, let's go.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
Shadow
Shadow.
Fiends, it's so far conforming to, I guess, unspoken rules. of pick up the powerful hero. Batrider, Storm Spirit, Morphling, all going to get the bans out. Ace is definitely scared about these mobility heroes from GGuard, and with the Shadow Fiend pickup, it is very easy to understand why, if that was their plan, and I'm pretty sure that it was from the beginning. GGuard have a Witch Doctor to lock down Shadow Fiend. Blink Axe is eventually a decent tool at dealing with it, but really just not having to worry about the Storm Spirit is a load off of Ace's minds right now. And this is already looking like it's going to be a non-mid Queen of Pain or a side lane Shadow Fiend, either of which are pretty darn strong. And GGuard are going to have to get stronger lanes to kind of make up for that fact. Lina as their pick, that's a pretty good one to send towards the mid lane if you are hoping for a Shadow Fiend matchup.
I think Lina would be alright, even though she could go up against that Queen of Pain or Shadow Fiend. We've seen it before. Lina, once she has that bottle, she's able to throw out a lot of damage. If they don't get their bottles at a reasonable time, or if they couple too much damage from this Lina, she has the potential to zone out both the Shadow Fiend and the Queen of Pain. So, with the Lina though, there's a lot of things that could happen. We've seen Winter play Lina. We've seen. I think Yamate's played Lina, or has it just been Winter
I've
and
seen Yamate play
Ling?
Lina mid, although I've seen so much Lina nowadays that they all kind of just meld together.
Yeah, there's so many things that you could do with the Lina. It's like we said, the versatility with these heroes that are being drafted. You can do so much with it. But this is probably going to be an offlane Queen of Pain for Aces. They've drafted a Juggernaut after the Shadow Fiend. Who else could go on the offlane? Unless you want to go for an aggressive tri-lane with your Earthshaker Juggernaut +1, it is an option. And that means that they're going to free up mid lane and the safe lane for the Shadow Fiend and Queen of Pain. So I could definitely see some aggression from Aces if they want to go in that direction.
Yeah, that would probably be the safest way to run this.
Standard.
I have seen a team recently run a support Queen of Pain Juggernaut dual lane, and that actually worked out really well. Shadow Strike, you get that to level 2, and this slow really stacks up with the Blade Fury. The intent, of course, is to kill your opponents in that lane since, well, you're investing into that spin. Not sure if that's going to be a huge option here because your opponent is most likely going to be Axe, and he's just a very difficult hero to bring down, but still options for Aces. But I do think that, defensive tri-lane or offensive tri-lane, even if they grab someone like a Vengeful Spirit or a Skywrath Mage, then they could certainly put the hurt towards GGuard, who right now are going to be putting the Medusa up on that top lane. It looks like it's a Medusa Witch Doctor +1 top lane for GGuard. This is pretty punishable by Aces, but only if the Shaker actually gets a good angle on that fissure. Medusa should be most of the time tanky enough and fast enough to get out from the Juggernaut.
Yeah, lots of synergy though from GGuard's heroes. The Axe and Witch Doctor benefit greatly from Medusa. I guess you could also include the Lina because she's going to have the extra attack speed from the Fiery Soul, so she's going to be hitting relatively quickly as well. I would love to see a Vengeful Spirit picked up by GGuard just because the negative armor coming out from the Vengeful Spirit's going to bolster all the damage output that GGuard's willing to throw out. So Witch Doctor, Vengeful Spirit, Lina, Axe and Medusa. That sounds like something that they could pick, but they could go for something else. They could just completely ignore me and go for a different out of the ordinary support. Are there any other standard supports left? I think there's Lion. They could go for Lion, the Lion Lina combo. Man, I forgot about that one.
Zaps. When you're going up against a Shadow Fiend, pressing the R button, get kills, easy life.
Yep.
But the Vengeful Spirit seems probably the most attractive here for GGuard. It is the clockwork to be banned out, so it seems like Aces think that this, GGuard side are still looking for their off lane for some reason, although Axe usually is going to fill that role. Venge does synergize really well with the primarily physical damage lineup of GGuard, like even Witch Doctor with the Death Ward. If you minus someone's armor and then tear them apart with the Death Ward, you can get kills pretty quickly. Really, it's only Lina who actually has any sufficient magical damage. Medusa, Axe, almost purely physical as well. So that would be a pretty decent support pick for GGuard, especially up against the Spirit Breaker now, although Lion is also looking pretty good. Aces are going on the aggro path. They do have 3 melee heroes, and GGuard are working with a Medusa and an Axe already. Well, not to mention Witch Doctor Lina, who are also fantastic against melee heroes. So come the mid-late game for Aces, if they don't watch their positioning, they can be really punished because everyone on their team is typically going to tend to group up.
I feel like Aces lanes are going to be incredibly weak. They've got what could be 2 melee supports, an Earthshaker and a Spirit Breaker. It could be an offlane Spirit Breaker and a support Queen of Pain, but the synergy between a Queen of Pain and Earthshaker as a support duo, it's not very strong. Very interesting draft though from Aces. I'm pretty sure they have a plan with this. They'll make it work somehow because why would you draft heroes like this if you don't know how to execute?
Well,
But
they're
yeah,
going up
there
against
will be
GGuard.
lots.
No guarantee that
Yeah,
it'll
5
work.
seconds remaining.
they want them $500. But we're
Yes.
going to finish up the draft with a what seems to be a net Sand King. So Winter going to be playing on the Lena yet again on our Axe. Probably going to be actually has to be Yamate Lena. Yamate
Yeah.
Lena offlane Winter. Sorry, offlane Axe Winter. My goodness, my brain is elsewhere.
Yeah, so we got Axe
Why
in the
am I?
offlane, the Sand King, who is going to be maybe a little bit of greedy support pick here from GGuard. If you are Aces and you have a support Spirit Breaker, or what I'm assuming to be a support Spirit Breaker, and a support Shaker, then most likely you're going to be playing things either super, super aggressively, like non-stop aggression, or super passively and going for no aggression. I don't really see them getting a happy middle ground there because their lanes, as you said, are very weak. So they either have to just put up all the shields or just fire all the cannons, and they can't just do half and half. And this Sand King pick for GGuard could have been someone else that could have punished that a little bit more. Sand King is very good up against Spirit Breaker. It's very easy to land a Burrow Strike and cancel out his charge, but aside from that, the Sand King is most likely just going to want to sit back in jungle unless Net brings out the big guns. He does have boots first, which does, of course, open the door for aggression.
Yeah,
But
we
for right now,
actually
guys,
did. Yeah,
Yep,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, no, it's fine. We'll say it later.
All right, well, I will introduce the Aces side then. It's going to be game one. Aces trying to grab their 500 bucks. It's going to be one day on the Shaker, Secret on the Queen of Pain, different Heaven on the Shadow Fiend, 3 on the Juggernaut, and red is on the Spirit Breaker. This is not on a ticket, guys, so non-official names are active, and it's going to be a little bit inconvenient, but you guys are just going to have to bear with it.
Yes. So playing on the side of GGuard, up top on our Sand King, we're going to have Net. He has Yamate nearby, playing on the Lena. Up towards the hill here, we've got Ben playing on our farming Medusa. He's got a lot of farming to go for the rest of the game. Ling will be on our Witch Doctor. And lastly, down the bottom lane, we have Winter, who's going to be handling our Axe. What I wanted to mention was, I believe yesterday, Net did not go for the jungling Sand King. He just went for the aggressive Sand King. He went for those early rotations with the Burrow Strike, which ended up in him getting that later Blink Dagger compared to the 9-minute Blink Dagger your Sand King can get if you just go straight into the jungle. So the way that Net plays it, I feel that it's not greedy. I think he's just going to go early, try and grab those kills. Once they're satisfied with what they have with their lanes, then he'll probably start rotating into the jungle.
And that's a perfectly fine way to play as well. You may not get your fast blink dagger, so you, as a Sand King, may not peek out so early, but you're also getting kills and you're making sure that the enemies don't peek early either. So it is a trade there that some teams will just have to calculate and then make. They're going to run a dual lane up towards top. This is such a pub stompy dual lane. It's so dangerous. Stun 1 into stun 2 into just right click damage can get them quite a few kills. Maybe not up against the Spirit Breaker. It's going to be a really tough kill there just because he is so tanky. You can already see they're putting up a good front up on top lane. Red getting dropped very low without any much pressure applied. This is going to put the Medusa over towards the mid lane because instead GGuard are favoring these dual lane setups right now. Medusa versus Shadow Fiend should be a nice lane for the Shadow Fiend. But the Medusa should be not under too much pressure either, especially if she's going for a bottle, which with her starting item set of 3 shared tangos, looks like could be a possibility.
Yeah, I feel this would most likely be a bottle, just to give him that sustain, keep him in the lanes, constantly farming. And even if he does get jumped on, he's going to have the constant mana regen to work with, so he can spam out the Mystic Snakes. It'll be incredibly annoying for different Heaven on the Shadow Fiend, because if he's too close to that end creep, getting that final tick on the Mystic Snake is so painful. And not just that, but it also saps your mana. It's very annoying, especially when you're playing such a mana-dependent mid-hero.
Well, speaking of annoying, GGuard are running with a pretty abusive dual lane down towards bottom. Axe and Witch Doctor, maybe not as dangerous potentially as like an Axe Dazzle combination, but their ability to just steal a creep wave and will force whoever's in this lane to have a very difficult time is going to be pretty efficient. Ling is dropping fairly low, but he does have a lot of regen in his pocket right now, so this bottom lane for the Aces side, it is going to be what looks like that Queen of Pain support. Although she's so far hasn't done that much so far. Net is going to be in a little bit of trouble perhaps, but no lucky 17% there for red. This top lane for GGuard, this is supposed to be the safe lane, but this is definitely not really the safest lane Lina, Sand King versus Spirit Breaker can apply some pressure, but not a ton. And similarly down towards bottom lane, if they get caught out GGuard by a fissure wall, and then if there's a Juggernaut spin, Winter, even though he is Axe very tanky, can go down.
Yeah, he has no points into the Berserker's Call yet, so that means that he's going to be missing out on the bonus 40 armor, which could potentially save his life. But Earthshaker, he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the perfect opportunity for the fissure block, but looks like the rune's going to expire before that time happens, so he's going to just retreat behind the tower. So yeah, that top lane though, you think that Yamate as well as Net would have been able to really harass Red out of the lane, but Red's been putting the aggression onto Net, sending him back to the fountain to heal up. You never really would expect that from your support, but I guess that's what happens when you run a hero like a Sand King in the support role up top. He can't really out-harass the offlaner just because he's a Sand King. He doesn't have any range to really fall back onto.
And similar to like the Earthshaker, who does have kind of some range to fall back onto, well, Sand King ordinarily does fulfill that job, not until his Burrow Strike becomes level 3 or 4. Until then, level 1 and 2 Burrow Strike, actually pretty bad skills, especially when the Spirit Breaker is working with boots first, plus he has 2 points in Empowering Haste. That's a lot of extra movement speed, so the odds of Sand King getting close, unless Yamate lands a random free-handed LSA, pretty darn low, and I think Net is probably going to have to go deep into the jungle on this one, just because there is no viable kill up towards top. Maybe once Lina grabs the Laguna Blade, then a kill will be possible, but until that happens, the Sand King needs a higher Burrow Strike level just to close in on the Spirit Breaker. I don't know how many points in Empowering Haste he's going to go for. Usually this is the skill that's more or less ignored on Spirit Breakers, but hell, if you're getting a lot of experience, you could afford to, level pretty much whatever you want. Down towards bottom lane, Winter is caught in a wall. Here comes the Juggernaut looking to spin down this Axe, healing from across the fissure, and they're going to get the call into one day. Right clicks from Ling, going to get them first blood. That's going to be for the Witch Doctor. Winter also going to go deep onto Secret, as well as 3 right now. Blink out from the Queen of Pain is going to keep her safe and sound. And at the same time, mid lane, Shadow Fiend from downtown Ben getting a snake out is going to get that kill. The Queen of Pain will slip away, as will the Juggernaut, but it is a 2-for-1 overall for GGuard. Shadow Fiend really should not be dying to a Medusa 1 versus 1.
It's very surprising, a Shadow Fiend dying to Ben on that Medusa. So we mentioned the Mystic Snake. It really did a lot of work for the Shadow Fiend. I feel that he underestimated the damage. Up top though, Red almost getting caught out, but he's going to go for the charge mid. He's going to be safe for the moment. Unfortunately, they ping out the rune spot, but not quite the right timing for the rune. But that means that up top, he's just going to zone him out, really.
It was just Red getting a little bit too close to the Sand King. I was just making this whole big thing about how Sand King doesn't have the range to initiate. If the Spirit Breaker walks into the Sand King, then, well, the Spirit Breaker pretty much does the Sand King's job for him. And then, well, Sand King doesn't actually have to work that hard. Ling is level 4 on the Witch Doctor. He's going to roam around towards the Medusa's lane, who's so far doing pretty well versus the Shadow Fiend. Of course, getting that kill is nice and everything, but he's also just leading the CS board, which is also probably not to be expected. Like, the Snake will get you a couple of CS, but aside from that, you're going to be mostly drawing even. We do have Net smoked up as the Sand King. And the Shadow Fiend, well, he does smell something. There is a Sentry Ward from the Radiant, which could have potentially spotted the Sand King smoke, although I think that's probably unlikely. They're just going to go ahead and stack, and this is a really unfortunate time for Net to be smoked up towards mid.
He might still come back into the mid lane though, unless he wants to go for a wraparound up top, which seems to be his mindset for the moment, all the way down bottom. Is there any action? Winter going to get caught out by One Day as well as Secret, but looks like he might be able to get out. Never mind, blink forward by Secret. They're going to try and commit for the kill. There's a Berserker's Call. They are going to manage to get out with Winter, I believe. Up top though, they're going to lose their Spirit Breaker. So kills happening all over the place. Unfortunately, no kill for Aces, but they lose their Spirit Breaker to GGuard. So nicely executed gank up top. Unfortunately, down bottom, your support Queen of Pain as well as your Earthshaker, not enough damage to really grab that kill.
Now they're going to like kind of shuffle up these lanes, put the Juggernaut more so in the jungle, and then put the Queen of Pain in lane. Like, this is I guess a good move if you are running this Queen of Pain support. She does need her experience if she's going to have any sort of impact in the game, and, well, putting her in lane is a great way to give her experience. This Juggernaut, though, has already been spotted out by Ling, so GGuard do know that this Juggernaut is very deep in the jungle, and they do have a read on his items. It's just that Morbid Mask right now, so though the Juggernaut is sustained enough to survive this jungle, he's not really going to be able to sustain himself through the jungle and then an incoming gank from anyone on GGuard, really. So if Net does wander down here, or if Yamate goes down here, or if anyone goes down there and punishes the Juggernaut and just runs into him, they will most likely get a free kill. Juggernaut will have to use a lot of his mana to use Healing Ward, therefore won't have enough mana to use Omni Slash, and well, Juggernaut's a mana-starved hero to begin things off with, but he's also gone for just 1 point in stats, so that doesn't help his case either.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if this kind of greedy play from Aces does work out, although I think they have vision of him now. They actually had vision the entire time, say Ling. He's going to come forward. No cast yet. He's actually hanging on to it for the moment, and no jump coming out from GGuard. Probably just there to push him out of the jungle for the moment, so he's just going to have to try and take the wolves instead for the moment. Oh my goodness. Up top though. Nice kill again for GGuard. They catch out the Spirit Breaker for the second time, and that was within the span of about 2 minutes.
Spirit Breaker going for 3 points in Empowering Haste, relying on that to keep him safe, but what you don't expect is for the Sand King to have Phase Boots, and that is probably one of the rarer boot choice in Sand King. Usually it's Tranquils or Arcane Boots, but the ability to get close is getting him a couple of kills, and again, it might be delaying his peak, just because he doesn't have that mana to effectively work with. He has to go back to the base quite often. He's getting kills for Yamate, and he's shutting down the Spirit Breaker at the exact same time. So for Net, this is kind of a trade-off for him, and if he just keeps on getting these kills, it'll be worth it. Yamate up towards top, gonna try to TP out, but here comes the Cow and the Shaker. He's going to get through the trees, though. Did he have an extra Tango? No, that tree was just eaten beforehand. That was actually the charge bash that did it. I don't know, but either way, Yamate is going to slip away from that top lane. Dangerous situation there, but Lina's holding onto a cannon right now. She is level 8, and the Sand King has level 3 Burrow Strike. So the kill potential from GGuard right now has just increased so much in this top lane that really no one is safe by themselves.
Yeah, especially when you're running those two heroes, you just have to be careful all the time. And we know GGuard, they love their smokes, they love those ganks. So Aces, hopefully at the top of their game, they're just going to manage. They're just going to have to keep on watching that map. When they realize someone's missing, they're just going to have to let their team know. Now down bottom though, Winter, he wanted to try and jump onto Secret, but it's a Queen of Pain. She has a blink, so she's not going to be the easiest target to take down. They're just going to backdoor the creep wave, and these creeps are just going to start banging on this tower. It's getting pretty low. He's going to have to blink out, and unfortunately the tower's going to go down. Charge, though, will be deployed onto Winter. Can they commit for the kill, though? Do they have enough down here? Everyone's just kind of dispersing at this point. No one really wanted to go for the kill besides Secret. Oh, wait, never mind. They were going to bring in 3 on the Juggernaut. GGuard, do they see this coming? I don't think they do, so the charge will connect onto the axe. He's very tanky, not going to be easy to take down. Yamate's here. He's going to be hit by the Omni Slash only twice, though, so he will manage to survive through the initial burst. 3 heroes down for Aces. I think one day will he go down as well. This is a very fast Net. He is using his phase boot. He's going to catch up. He's going to follow up with the Burrow Strike as well as the stun, and that's no Earthshaker anymore. It just sinks into the ground. So 4 heroes down on the side of Aces. GGuard, they lose nobody. That was supposed to be a gank on GGuard, and it looked like the complete opposite.
Winter, right before that fight happened, like literally 10 seconds right before, grabbed a Vanguard, and I don't think Aces actually anticipated that, so they were trying to focus a lot into the axe, which is never really what you want to be doing, and then they just got blindsided by the fact that GGuard did bring in the cavalry, and they brought it in hard. Yamate coming in, killing off the Queen of Pain pretty much by himself, taking a lot of damage as well, dropping low, but even if Yamate dies there, that's a fantastic trade for GGuard, because they're still farming up on the Medusa, and they still make a 1 for 4. That's still pretty darn good at any stage of the game. So, yeah, for Aces, they just maybe messed up their focus fire just a little bit, relying a little bit too much on the Omni Slash, because GGuard, they had a lot of crowd control there, and if you don't focus down the softer heroes in the Lina or the Witch Doctor, then they're really going to make you pay, but you also can't really focus down Lina should she be in the back and should she be teleporting in for a surprise. You just don't really know that she's there, so you can't anticipate for that. So for Aces, they're suddenly facing up against a 1-8 disadvantage with a team that has comparable late game in this Medusa. Like Aces, they should have, you know, really good late game. The Shadow Fiend, the Spirit Breaker, even the Juggernaut, Queen of Pain. But these heroes just aren't getting any farm, especially the Spirit Breaker, who's barely ahead of the Queen of Pain. So 3 supports right now for Aces, essentially. Smoke up from GGuard. Yamate does have that Eul Scepter available, so very easy setup for Winter to get that call off, or for Yamate just take the kill for himself. They're not going to find anyone, but they probably can just walk in and take this tier 1 mid.
Yeah, the tier one's pretty. Actually, it's not even that low. It's relatively healthy. They're just going to keep on checking around the back lines. No one's here, but they might try and just try and cut off Red. Red's going to go back to the fountain. Actually, he's just going to hang around the tower first. This is only two heroes, but it's Winter and Yamate. If they can lock down Red, they can take him down really quickly. And Red, he senses something. He's just going to go straight for the charge. So no kill going in the way of GGuard, but they will cut the creep wave and they're going to go for that top tower. Mid tower, they never mind, they're going to go for the charge onto Ben. No one's here though. There's a jump from Secret. They're going to get the fissure. There's a couple of raises coming out from different heaven. There's going to be the Medusa Stone Gaze. That's when everyone on Aces has to back out. And look at all the reinforcement coming out from GGuard. There's going to be the first slam dunk onto your Spirit Breaker, and everyone on Aces, they say, we don't have enough damage anymore. We've used everything. They have to retreat. And different heaven on your Shadow Fiend, he's going to go for a Requiem into the trees, but it's not doing too much damage. Slam dunk onto Secret on the Queen of Pain. He's down as well. Two heroes killed. Laguna connecting onto different heaven. Popping the mechanism, he will get called, stunned, and he will be finished off with that Dragon Slave. Three heroes taken down, and GGuard, yet again, lose nobody. What a fight. These fights are just going completely horrible for Aces. They just can't kill anybody.
GGuard clearly showing that teleportation scrolls are the most important item in the game. They bring in so many people again. It was just Ben and it was just Ling there, but suddenly literally everyone from GGuard arrives, and Winter, now that he has his Blink Dagger, is going to arrive even faster. Same thing for Net. Not necessarily at his Blink Dagger. He'll have that one soon enough. So we got Blink Daggers coming up for GGuards on heroes that, I mean, at this point, if you're Axe and if you have a Blink Dagger, you're usually pretty happy. If you have a Blink Dagger and a Vanguard, then you're balling out of control. And Net similarly going for a very much so laning Sand King, roaming, killing Sand King. Also, him having a Blink Dagger is very, very early. So GGuard are getting big items up early, and again, Aces, they try to go for the tanky target. Medusa is, I guess, the one that they should be focusing, just because that is the late game power of GGuard. She represents the most threat in the long term, but she also had a full mana pool and an ultimate orb, and is maxed out on the mana shield. She is no easy killer just because she has so much HP. Up towards top, they'll finally get their due and kill off the Sand King, but unfortunately, Sand King gets to the side chop and buys the Blink Dagger right beforehand. So the Sand King lost no gold, and he's more than okay with that.
Yeah, if they actually killed him before he got the Blink Dagger, then that would have been a pretty big economical loss for the Sand King, but luckily for Net, the Blink Dagger has been secured, and we probably are going to get a rotation from GGuard unless they just want to go for a tower defend. There's only two heroes, but then again, these are two powerhouses on the side of GGuard. These two heroes alone could bring anybody on the side of Aces from 100 to 0. Secret as well as 3, and one day they're going to hang around for a little bit. Are they going to commit to this tower push? Aces, they need something, but they just can't go into these GGuard heroes. I feel like they have to try and go for this more split push oriented kind of play rather than trying to go for these towers head on. But Winter going to go for the blink. There's going to be a spin coming out from Aces, so he's not, sorry, for 3, he won't be taking as much damage. He will get blocked in by the Fissure, so good play coming out from your Spirit Breaker. Sorry, that's not Spirit Breaker, that's an Earth Shaker, but TP from Winter, and he only TP'd to the top T1, so he wants to hang around for the fight. He has Tranquil Boots, so he will heal up, but Aces, they used quite a few of their spells. There is going to be a stun onto Red, LSA as well, Laguna Blade into the face, and that's going to be your Spirit Breaker down. And Aces, they wanted to retreat, but unfortunately, you can't retreat when you get caught.
You can't retreat when there's so many mobility tools on the GGuard side.
Yes.
Blink forward, another burst strike on a different heaven. He's probably going to lose his head soon. Call is there. They have stuns. They're just not using them. They're being a little bit greedy right now, but they'll get the kill eventually. Winter can take a little bit of that Death Requiem damage, but they held on to the call for a really long time. Pretty sure Yamate had an LSA the entire time as well, so they were just trying to manage their mana. They end up getting 2 free kills up on top and a tower destruction for free. GGuard putting these Blink Daggers to work, and Yamate, I mean, he's closing the distance with that Eul Scepter, but he even hasn't used it, I don't think, a single time, just because it hasn't been necessary. He hasn't needed to set up for himself because he has the Axe and Sand King with Blink Daggers to do that for him. So this Lina is sitting on essentially a dead item in the Eul Scepter right now, and that's good for her. Like, usually dead items are bad, but if you could just sit on your Eul Scepter, have it always for defensive purposes, as any hero, you're going to be pretty happy about that. So 2-13 and GGuard are absolutely crushing it right now. 12k in advantage in golds, upwards of 7.5 experience in their favor, and with so much kill potential, they're going to continue on with this path. Medusa's still going for this Eye of Scotty, so even if GGuard do botch 3, 4 fights and end up giving away kind of poor trades, their Medusa will be able to recover in the late game. 3, though, does go into the Roche Pit with a Mask of Madness and a DD rune. He does clear that one out, grab himself an Aegis, but the rest of their team, maybe not as lucky. Secret's going to get jumped, Laguna to the head, and that's her death. Now One Day, caught in the call, is also going to take a quick fall. There's the Omni Slash onto Winter, jumping over to Net. Sand King dropping low, but he'll bottle up, Burst Strike through. He hit with the Nether, and he will be going down, but over towards the bottom side of the fight, Different Heaven. He's also going to get worked down by Yamate. LSA landing there. It's going to be a 1 for 3 for GGuard, and the Juggernaut, he still holds on to his Aegis, but that Omni Slash, focusing onto the Sand King. For GGuard, it's like you are going to be focusing down either a really tanky target that you can't kill, or a support target that's almost irrelevant. All of their cores are just so difficult to kill right now.
Yeah, especially Winter on the axe, and he's always in the front lines. He's always a constant threat, and you kind of feel like Aces have drafted themselves into a bit of a hole. They just have very little lockdown to keep Winter in place when he does go for the call. There is going to be a jump though. They will throw a charge onto Yamate. They really want to commit for the kill, but really nice blink coming in from Winter. Going to keep 2 heroes locked down. There's a Death Ward on the high ground. There's also going to be a stun coming out from Net on that Sand King. Now the Aegis has been used up by 3. Secret being chased up by Winter, but looks like Winter's going to be in trouble now. He's got a pretty big kill streak on his head, I believe. He's just going to go for the Battle Hunger onto 3. There's a Berserker's Call. He's trying to live for as long as possible, waiting for the Blink Dagger to come off cooldown, but it's going to be cancelled by Secret. Will Winter get out though? He's very tanky. Gonna pop his wand. He's still alive. Can they cancel that blink? They will be able to. There's the Berserker's Call, but unfortunately he will go down. Probably one of the longest chases I've ever seen in this series. But that's an unstoppable streak though, going in the way of 3.
That was probably the best fight that Aces have taken thus far. They just get the initiation onto the Lina, who was trying to bait them in, I feel. She had the Yule Scepter available, so if she really wanted to, she could have just dodged the charge and then would have been fine. But down towards bottom, or up towards mid rather, Different Heaven's going to get epicentered. The cask is there as well, and that will be enough to do in the Shadow Fiend. Here comes reinforcements though. Red with the Nether Strike will take out Ling with the help of 3, making it a 1-for-1. Yamate though is going to arrive as well. Does not have a Dragon Slave, for some reason was using it, but the Burrow Strike through 2, and a Laguna Blade on the Juggernaut's going to get that kill. Here comes the Queen of Pain, but she doesn't actually have that much mana, so she can't do much except for right click. Yamate's going to take a beating from Red. Another LSA though, and Net waiting for another Burrow Strike. He doesn't have it though, no more mana. Yamate still is going to escape with the Phase Boots and with the insane movement speed of this Lina, especially with that passive. She's going to get out free and clear, and GGuard jump in with 2 supports and assassinate the 2 Ace cores, at least the 2 most important cores on Ace right now. A little bit of a hiccup for GGuard's game plan. They take a less than stellar fight, first time in the entire game, but still they're getting ahead because of it, because the Medusa now has the Eye of Skadi, and next time Ben is actually going to be able to contribute to those fights in some way, or at least will feel comfortable teleporting in to try to help out his teammates.
Yeah, Yamate and the Lina also managing to pick up a 20-minute Aghanim Scepter, and this is also on top of a Yule Scepter. So this is phenomenal farm on Alina. He's sitting on an 8 kill streak. So if he dies, that's going to be a massive bounty going in the way of Aces. But Lina's relatively tanky at 20 minutes into the game. He's got a Yules. He's very, very slippery because he's also got this axe as well as that Medusa to really bide time for Yamate to do any sort of damage. So as long as they don't get caught out separately, which might happen now. Oh, Shadow Blade has been secured on the Juggernaut. He's going to use it. He wants to go for an Omni Slash, but it's onto Ben and Yamate. They're going to try and soften them up with the Queen of Pain. Omni Slash, they will get Yamate, so that's going to be a big kill streak going in the way of 3. He's just going to go for a spin out. He does not want to join the fight. He's low on mana. There's going to be a Stone Gaze thrown out by Ben on the Medusa. They will not actually turn anyone into stone. Winter, they blink forward, only connecting onto Different Heaven on the Shadow Fiend, but he's not enough by himself to really get any kills, and they're going to lose the axe. Are they going to be able to get another kill? They might grab Ben. Ben is still alive though, but 3, he wants the kill. And unfortunately, Death Ward deployed. Going to probably get a couple of kills. Never mind, there's a cancel coming up from One Day. And all of a sudden, Aces, they have a pretty good team fight. They might actually get a little bit extra if Net shows himself. He's in a bit of a pickle in this little tree line.
Well, he has a Blink Dagger and a TP Scroll, so he should be fine to escape unless he makes some super aggressive, unnecessary play. But GGuard get absolutely demolished there. really it was the Shadow Blade from the Juggernaut that did it. He was able to sit right next to the Lina and wait until the Lina had her Yule Scepter on cooldown. She used it aggressively on the Queen of Pain, and that was Yamate's undoing. You don't expect a Shadow Blade on the Juggernaut right now. Hell, you don't expect a Shadow Blade on Juggernaut pretty much ever. So Yamate was more than okay just throwing that one out and looking for a kill, but he was surprised by the fact that, well, there's an Omnislash waiting for him. Losing the Lina immediately from GGuard makes them lose a great portion of their damage output. And the Medusa also took an absolute beating there without really the help of her allies. The rest of GGuard, they were coming in, although they were coming in a little bit slowly. So they had, the Medusa as well as that Lina on the front lines, and then everyone else was still trying to actually join into the lane. So it was Aces who had a temporary numbers advantage, and after getting that first kill on Lina, they had a permanent numbers advantage, and they just rode that one to victory. Yet it's a great fight for Aces. Their Juggernaut's now on top of the net worth chart. They're still not out of the woods just yet. They need a Blink Dagger on the Shaker, who he does have it. That's, step one, but still, the Sand King, he has his Blink Dagger. Yamate has his Aghanim Scepter, and now Ling has his Aghanim Scepter as well. So Earthshaker Fissures have to be continuously spot on, as they have been, hitting several times 2 or 3 heroes, but Net is in the trees right now. Epicenter channel. He's going to whiff a couple of pulses, but they will Laguna and kill off the Shadow Fiend. Now going towards the Spirit Breaker. He's going to get thrown up into the air, down into an LSA. Omnislash is there. There's a giant creep wave here as well, though, and Juggernaut will get a lot of farm because of that. Suddenly has to spin out. Winter is waiting there, using the call if necessary to cancel a TP. That won't even be necessary. He's going to catch Secret instead with the LSA follow-up. Fissure onto 4. This Earthshaker's gotten some pretty good ones, but it's just not enough because he's trying to save his allies from certain death. Winter chasing forward, thinking about jumping forward for this Earthshaker kill. Blink call is available with Shakers in his base. Juggernaut's going to buy out. He has a lot of damage output, but no Omnislash, so he is a vulnerable hero right now. And GGuard, they've just completely mopped up Aces. Some revenge for them, and they are going to, in fact, fall back, happy with the 0 for 4 that they just took.
It was just because of that setup by Net. Net was in that tree line for the entire duration of when GGuard respawned and decided to push up that top lane yet again. And Aces, in all honesty, would you expect a Sand King to still be in the tree line? Because there's no vision up top for Aces at all. They've got no vision up there, so they have no idea if anyone blinks into the tree line. They don't know if there's going to be any sneaky plays. So that really nice setup from Net on the Sand King really snowballed everything out of proportion for Aces, and unfortunately they couldn't really come back off of any sort of maneuvers. And Yamate, he will be spotted at Echo Slam just to keep him in place. They want to try and grab this kill onto him, going to commit everything. They will get that Yamate kill, so unfortunately that really handy sentry ward saving Aces there. Otherwise, they would have lost somebody very quickly.
Yeah, at this point, Lina can kill off the good majority of the Aces heroes, and Sentry Ward value right there. Get a kill, make sure that that area is free of Observer Wards for the future. GGuard didn't take Rax in that last fight, so they're still at an advantage, but not really one that Aces can't overcome, especially if they keep getting these value ultis. The Shaker especially has been doing a great job, but also the Queen of Pain Sonic Waves has been on point. The Requiems could use a little bit of work, but Different Heaven has been dying so many times that he doesn't actually have a chance to refill his souls, only sitting on 12 right now. So the Requiem, even if he does get it in the perfect position, it's not going to be doing that much damage. Shadow Fiend, not really a huge hero for Aces at this point. And GGuard, they're just still going to happily farm up. The Aegis on Juggernaut was used, I believe. It was in that first top lane fight, so Roshan is going to be respawning in just a minute. And for both sides, this is going to be pretty important, especially for Aces, though. They do have to worry about top lane creep wave that is pushing in, and they do have to worry about fighting into a Roche Pit against a Medusa and a Sand King. That is some heavy hitters in the Roche Pit. Shaker, Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, these are nice heroes to have as well, but Medusa in the Roche Pit is so good. Like, I think she's even close to Batrider status because Stone Gaze keeps her safe, guaranteed.
Yeah, it's going to be a very uphill battle for Aces if they want to try and go into the Roche Pit. I think the best thing they could really do is just give up the Roshan and use that timing to just grab some farm on their core heroes, because you mentioned Different Heaven on the Shadow Fiend. He's not really had the best performance this game, but what can he really do at this point? He just can't secure farm for himself because they're trying to give it to their Juggernaut instead. So he's gone for that utility Shadow Fiend. He's relying on the Shadow Razors as well as the Requiem of Souls for damage. But unfortunately for him, he can't really do anything in the fights. He just gets locked down, gets picked off straight away. If you've noticed a lot of the fights, GGuard just kill off Different Heaven before he can use the mechanism for his teammates. So a lot of the times he's either dead before he can mech, or he's going to have to just solo mech himself, and that's not going to help your fights at all if your mech carrier just gets completely demolished. So I feel like, if anything, any hero would be better than Shadow Fiend in this situation. Any standard mid hero, if you could say. Because Shadow Fiend, he is a hero that, yes, he's very strong with his spells, but he still needs items. He's not like a Zeus where he has that phenomenal burst. Yes, you can say Shadow Fiend does have something like that with the Shadow Razors, but he just needs those items to just go into the late game. He can't go for the Aghanim's Refresher combo just for the global damage to help your team with those assists, I suppose. He just has to be in the fights, and to be in the fights, you have to survive it. So Roshan will be picked up by GGuard for free. Aces probably completely unaware of it because they have no ward vision, but they are still using this time for that precious farm because their heroes are just so gold hungry at this point.
And Ben is going to be the one to grab the Aegis. He has a lot of gold. Does he have his butterfly completed? Almost. Actually, he just sold something. So yeah, he'll have it very shortly. Butterfly and Aegis now on the Medusa. She was very difficult to kill before. She's even more difficult to kill now with that evasion. And the rest of the GGuard side, they're going to smoke up, running towards the top lane, running towards mid. This is without their Medusa, so this is an incredibly risky move from GGuard. If they run into more than one hero, they can be sufficiently punished right now. They think they know where the Spirit Breaker is. They have a lot of very deep observer wards, so they have a pretty good read right now, but they're just going to wait on the mid lane for someone to show their face. They will not find anyone over there. They'll go towards bottom. These are three heroes that you really don't want to mess with if you're GGuard. Blink forward, Burst Strike, blind from net, going to miss completely. Blink forward, Winter, going to get the call into Aces. They'll try to take out the Juggernaut, but the Death Ward also is being channeled. No one's interrupting that from Ling until Secret finally does. They lose two immediately, however. Ling and Yamate now on the run, and I don't think either of these two heroes can survive. Witch Doctor is going to get out to the top end. Lina runs to the right. She does blink out of there, but they jump into way too many heroes, GGuard. And again, this is without their Medusa. That was such a unnecessarily greedy play from GGuard. And with the blind initiation from the Sand King that missed, they just handed that fight over to Aces on a silver platter.
They got a little bit overconfident with that engagement. They thought, okay, a lot of the fights, we've managed to win them. We feel that we have enough items to just go into Aces 4v5, but that had a massive miscalculation in terms of how much that Aces can really throw out if they can execute the fights well. So because of the fight, Aces, they get a lot of gold going their way, especially on those core heroes that needed so much farm. So all of a sudden, you have a Juggernaut who's sitting on a BKB plus 1.7k gold. You have a Shadow Fiend who's going to be sitting on a pile of gold as well. That 3k, I have no idea what he wants to go for at this point. The Spirit Breaker, I feel like the Spirit Breaker's in a bit of a weird boat. He can't really build any items to be relevant unless he's incredibly farmed. But they will try and jump onto Secret. There's a double Yule, so the stun's going to actually miss. So Secret going to blink onto the high ground. He's safe. Going to deploy a Observer Ward as well, just to keep an eye on GGuard, because it looks like this is going to be the high ground push coming up from them. They bring everybody in. They have no vision though, so if they want to try and put one into the enemy base, then that probably will give them enough vision to try and go for those high ground initiations, because GGuard, they love to jump in with Winter as well as net on the Sand King. But for the moment though, they're just going to put one on the low ground just to see if anyone's going to go for any cheeky rotations from that bottom lane.
They have Ben, who had a double damage rune. Yule Scepter does get rid of that, and the rest of them, they're grouped up, ready to go. They actually messed up on that kill on Queen of Pain. Miscommunication between Net and, everyone else. Ben, though, gonna get 4 staffed in. Still has the Aegis, though. So letting this Medusa take some hits for GGuard is perfectly fine for right now, especially with Ling packing 4 points in the heal. Ben's gonna be at decent amount of HP soon enough. Also has a bottle to drink from, although he's not, which is kind of weird. Actually, Shadow Strike, so he will drink that bottle soon enough, and he's still just working out that tower. Aces, you gotta go eventually. They're gonna try to go for another 4-staff play from the Shaker. Bring Ben in, wall him off. Can they actually get this kill, however? They will have to commit Omnisage, blink forward, call, and the Laguna Blade with the Death Ward from the low ground as well. Ling is gonna destroy their HP pool. Red gonna get a very short charge, but still the Death Ward is firing. It will lose sight, as I think it was on the low ground. So they take out Ben's Aegis in exchange for their Juggernaut, who does have buyback and might actually need to use it right now. For GGuard, they don't have their Laguna Blade any longer. They don't have their Death Ward, but they still have a blink call. They will have eventually a cull, and they have the epicenter. Ben is still very tanky as well. Here comes the charge in. The ultimate from Ben, not able to get out just yet, but they get the call onto Red. In the meantime, Secret's going to occupy the time of the Sand King, canceling out that epicenter channel. He might pay for it with his life hour because Lina is there, and they will lose the Queen of Pain, but a 2-man Echo Slam over mid lane is going to kill off the Medusa and drop Winter very low. One more raise is all they need, but one more Juggernaut Slash will do it as well. Ling, Net, and Yamate now on the run. They'll try to turn around for the cast, but the spin is there. Charge is there onto Ling as well, and they should take out this Witch Doctor at the very least. 2-man Burst Strike is there. Yamate going to throw out an LSA, which will also connect onto the Juggernaut, but it's just not enough damage right now. The Lina has to leave. Net is going to try to blink out of there, and he will get out safe and sound, it looks like, unless they can find vision for a charge. They don't have any wards here, so they will be going blind, and it looks like that should be fine. But GGuard, they take down the tier 3, and that's about it. The Queen of Pain's priority there, jumping forward to the Sand King, that probably was what won Aces that fight. They're going to try to go for a mid lane push. Laguna Blade onto the Juggernaut is going to bring him low, but with Healing Ward level 3, he'll get back up to full shortly. Yamate now will dodge away from another strike, but Aces, they hold their high ground, minimal casualties, and they are going to be pushing in towards mid just for a little bit. They stall up GGuard's push once again.
Yeah, so that was a really good turn of events there for Aces. They managed to grab some really crucial kills. They get rid of the Aegis as well as getting some very valuable hero kills. They did lose a T3 tower in the process, but because they're in this position, I feel like they have to give something away to grab these counter kills to come back into the game. They're still at a deficit. They're still sitting at about a 12k net worth deficit, whereas EXP, it is starting to even out. It's getting close. Not quite there yet, but slowly but surely, they are slowly creeping back into this game. They're getting those items that's going to really amp up their damage in the fights, as well as their sustainability. The heroes during the early game, they were so squishy, they were so susceptible to the initial burst damage from GGuard that it was so easy for GGuard to go for those easy pickoffs. But now, because everyone's starting to tank up, everyone has those initiation items, GGuard have to be alert when they push up high ground. High ground is still a very difficult thing to do, even though you have two heroes that can jump up onto the high ground, keep Aces busy while you dish out all the damage. You still can't underestimate the damage output as well as the control that Aces is able to really output. They've got a Yule Scepter in case someone might be stuck in an LSA. They can just throw it onto somebody if necessary. Throw it onto the Axe, even if he goes for the Berserker's Call in the middle of everybody. That's going to prevent all the spins. That's a lot of damage. That's not going to be thrown out onto those Aces heroes. You've got your Spirit Breaker for pretty much free vision onto anybody who could be retreating. So even though you are pretty low and you're behind your teammates, you could potentially still get sniped out by that Spirit Breaker. So I feel like Aces, they're in a bad spot, but they're slowly recovering, which they so desperately need. I want to give a commend to One Day on this Earthshaker. Some of those Echo Slams are really helping them out in those team fights.
Yeah, and with the Blink Dagger Force Staff, it's so easy for him to set those up as well. Different Heaven has been having such a tough time in the Shadow Fiend, yet suddenly after one or two great fights, finds himself with a completed Eye of Scotty. You were talking about sustainability. This is sustainability and then some for the Shadow Fiend, even with the double damage rune right now. They're going to smoke up and look for someone. The only possible kill here is Net on the Sand King, and he is, well, just going to book it out of there. So Aces, they do see the Sand King retreat. They, oh, no, actually, they don't. That was a Dire Observer, my bad. But they will just charge forward looking for someone. If not a hero, they're probably going to go for this tower. Hell, they could, it's actually in deny range, so they could kill it off with just like 2 hits from the Juggernaut. So that tower is most likely forfeit. Got Yamate AFK up on the high ground with no TP. I don't really know why he's up there. I got to assume that he wasn't even placing this Observer Ward. Why is he up there? And why is he not coming down?
He was waiting for someone to try and farm the creep camp and then realize there's no camp there. So he's just patiently playing the waiting game. He's saying, okay, my food's going to come to me one day. If I wait patiently enough, the fish will come. They'll take the bait. But no one, for the moment, is going into the jungle. So Yamate's time is effectively being wasted. Never mind, he actually catches vision of the Queen of Pain.
But now he's just going to die, though, because here comes the charge. Yamate with Yule Scepter is going to cancel it, though. Just barely. Fissure is once again going to come out for one day. Nether Strike on the Yamate as well as Echo Slam. And that will kill off the Lina. It's a cute play, but you don't win Dota by making cute plays. You win it by making efficient plays. So I don't really think that was worth it for Yamate. Sometimes, though, when you're sitting on an insta-kill button, you just gotta go for it.
The kill switch, it's so tempting to just try and go for those cute solo picks. And especially when it's an Aghanim's Laguna Blade. If you can do it, why not? But in all honesty, though, losing your life for just a Queen of Pain kill, definitely not worth it. You don't want to be giving kills at this point because the comeback mechanism is working in favor of Aces. And even though it's just one kill, it's a core hero. It's a Lina. It's your main damage dealer. Oh god, 3 in the backlines with an invisibility rune. Sentry will be put down though. Winter, can he get the call? Yule's going to keep the Juggernaut in place for a little bit. BKB deployed. He will be kept in place by the call. What will 3 do at this point? He has the Shadow Blade, but Sentry is there. He might be able to get out. Just needs to get out of range. Although the mid lane there is a bit of a tussle. Net going to be caught out by Secret on the Queen of Pain. Omni Slash has been deployed. Never mind. He actually still has it. So 3 will get out. Death Ward has been used. And that's pretty much about it. Nothing else deployed, never mind. Secret in the backlines almost gets caught. Will he get stunned up? He'll get Laguna to the face. Oh man. It looked like Aces were going to get out pretty much death-free, and then all of a sudden I jinxed it.
It's only a support though. Like, it is Queen of Pain, so that I think
Only a
if
support.
anyone's just tuning in right now, Queen of Pain is an expendable hero for Aces. It's pretty much the Vengeful Spirit or Crystal Maiden of this game. So losing the Queen of Pain, Aces don't really care about that. She's not going to be doing much. She really only has one job. Throw out the Sonic Wave at some point in the fight. If it hits one person, you're happy. But really, it's Blink Eul Scepter. That's the only thing Queen of Pain has to do, and she just has to keep her eyes glued on net so that you can do it every single time. If she does that, mission accomplished for her. GGuard, they do waste a lot of cooldowns, and they do take that fight with Yamate kind of being AWOL for the most part of it. Death Ward, not really having a great channel there from Lynch because everyone from Ace is disengaging pretty cleanly. But now that they have the MKB on the Medusa, pretty sure next time the Juggernaut isn't going to get away. So Aces, they made, again, a very similarly greedy play to what we've seen from GGuard in the past in this game, but now they're going to smoke up as 5. This is not a greedy play because they do have to worry about this Roshan, which is respawning. Ben in the Roche Pit with Winter and Yamate. Where's the Sand King? He is in a perfect position as long as he doesn't blow the smoke, and he will. Now they know where someone is. Secret's going to jump up to high ground. He's going to hit with the LSA. Fissure through everyone, though. Ben taking a beating already. Stone Gaze not used just yet. It will be used right now, but Omnislash is there. Plus the Requiem. Ben not doing any more damage, and suddenly he's dropping very low. They'll kill off Winter. Echo Slam onto Ben will kill him off as well. Yamate getting a whiff of his combo up towards top. He will kill off the Queen of Pain, but down towards bottom. Net gonna completely fail his epicenter. I have no idea what happened. He just couldn't blink down. Now he's gonna blink in, land a Burrow Strike onto 2 with the Death Ward being channeled. They'll take out Red. It's still being channeled, not canceled by the Fissure. They'll have to go towards the Roche Pit though in a 3v5 situation with no epicenter. They have to fall back. I had no idea what happened to Net there. Something random must have hit him, but he got completely shut down in his initiation. Good Death Ward channel finally from Ling, but the Omnislash and the Requiem timings were absolutely perfect from Aces. They kill off the Medusa and the Axe, and they steal the Aegis, or I guess they steal the Roshan and the Aegis, and they get away with minimal casualties.
Oh, look at it go!
Man, that initiation and the fights was pretty much let's be honest, that fight was everywhere. I don't want to say anything bad, so I'm not going to go in that direction.
It was a mess.
But the fight happened everywhere. It was a mess. There was a fight happening in the Roche Pit. There was a fight happening in the river. You had one on the high ground right behind the T1 tower on the side of GGuard. So shit was happening everywhere, pretty much. And Aces, they played that very well. The Omni Slash, you mentioned it, was perfect. And the Medusa at that point, she already popped the Stone Gaze, but what can you do to an Omni Slash when you can't even see the Juggernaut? So that was such good stuff. Up top though, they will get a kill onto the Sand King. So Net, not expecting heroes to be there on the side of Aces. All of a sudden, our Vietnamese squad, they're on the aggression. They're getting kills, and GGuard, they're on the back foot.
Oh man, GGuard, they had at one point a 15k lead in experience, almost 10k lead, or 15k gold lead, and 15, oh my god, numbers, 10k experience and 15k gold. Yes, those are the correct numbers. They had that at one point, but I think it was just them thinking that they're way too far ahead and deciding to clown things up a little bit. Like, they made so many unnecessarily greedy plays. They've been doing, Yamate camping on the hill just to look for solo assassinations. It's
King of the Hill.
funny and everything. And now they're going for another unnecessarily aggressive play. They might get this kill, but they also might be punished. Laguna Blade is there. Winter is going to jump in for the call. And this time for GGuard, they're unpunished. Luckily so, because they could have lost 3 heroes right there if Aces were a little bit closer to their Spirit Breaker. But they take the free kill. They have a 50-second window where Aces are without one of their primary stunners, but I don't think for GGuard it's enough time to actually do anything. I think at this point they're right back on the we're going to wait until Medusa is 6-slotted type of game plan, and that is a game plan that Aces are going to be more than happy to play.
Yeah, because it means they're getting more time to farm on their heroes. Oh, that was a clutch blink coming out from Secret. I don't know if that was supposed to be a blink to get away from Winter or if it was just a convenient blink, but regardless, Secret gets out there with pretty much nothing lost. Skin of his teeth. He just got out of there pretty much at the right time. But yeah, like we said, Aces, they're going to be happy that GGuard's going to be putting themselves into this passive position because it means they're going to be getting farm. And you look at their draft, and they're all heroes that scale so well, whereas GGuard, a lot of it is based on initiators as well as a little bit of damage from your Lina. A lot of it's going to be coming from Ben on that Medusa. He is slowly starting to 6 slot, but the rest of his team, they're not going to scale as well. Axe in the late game, he's not really that damage dealer you see as of now, because Winter on this Axe, yes, he's still doing a little bit of damage now, but he is slowly but surely starting to fall off. Your Lina, I don't know how Yamate wants to build the Lina. It looks like it's a utility Lina, although up top, sorry, that's down bottom. Ben going to be charged up by the Spirit Breaker. Will they commit for this though? He will be turned into a piggy and run right back into his teammates, and there will be a fissure though. That's going to keep Winter in place. He blinked in right into the fissure as well, so a little inconvenient there for GGuard, but there was a Lincoln's deployed onto Juggernaut. That's going to be cancelled out by someone onto GGuard, and everyone on the side of Aces, they're just going to back up because they see the entire GGuard draft and they say, okay, you guys came, we pretty much baited you here, we're going to go back to farming, and you're going to go back to farming, and we're going to go back to that passive game plan.
Man, one day Fissure from Earthshaker for the up-team time in this game, once again, just saving Aces. That could have been potentially really bad. Winter had a free call there, but the Fissure coming in at, again, just the perfect time. Hit onto 3 targets, I believe, and then it's just clean retreat from there. Or even if Aces were feeling up to it, clean fight. They still have the Aegis on the Juggernaut, so I thought they would perhaps go for an aggressive play towards the enemy tier 2, but they are going to play this very, very safely. Again, something we have not been seeing from GGuard in this particular game. Now Yamate's Sheepstick is revealed. Aces, there's not much you could do to actually counterplay that, except for more highly prioritize Yamate as a kill. But that first usage of Sheepstick most of the time should be getting you a kill, ideally on someone important, but well, that just wasn't going to be happening that time. Spirit Breaker got out just fine with the Fissure backup, so GGuard, they're going to post pretty aggressively up in the enemy jungle. This is pretty much all spotted by this Observer Ward, or at least it spotted some heroes rotating in. There is now another Radiant Observer Ward that's going to be spotting everyone for real now. I don't know if it spotted that smoke, but I think Aces, even if they don't know necessarily that there's a smoke there, they will be playing kind of defensively. So I don't think anyone should be picked off right now. The Juggernaut is just going to make a clean retreat back to his base. Bottom lane, you can see they're playing things pretty safely as well. Secret is, well, doing what he can as Queen of Pain support. But yeah, this smoke from GGuard is looking like once again it's not going to do anything. And even if they get into a fight, they don't have Ben. They're going to run into, however, Red. There's the Sheepstick. Laguna wasting no time for that one. They chop off his head. Spirit Breaker down, this time right outside the enemy base. So whereas last time they were all over the map, this time they could actually make a push happen after the Spirit Breaker's death, because he does not have buyback. And even if he did, it's not really the biggest of worries for GGuard. They're working with the 4 versus 5 right now, and the Juggernaut's Aegis has also just timed out. Ben right onto the high ground will put some work into the melee Raxes. Creep Wave not lasting too long, however, due to those raises and the Juggernaut damage. So GGuard have to fall back for right now. The next creep wave is really, really far away. It seems like forever. But this opening that they got from killing off the Spirit Breaker is going to close soon.
Yeah. I want to mention as well, this was a small thing, but Spirit Breaker, he could have actually been to the base faster if Secret did not kill that creep as quickly as he did. He literally stopped here, but never mind, there's going to be a fight in the middle lane though, and that looks like one day Earthshaker, he's not going to be able to save the day this time. Slam dunk as well, thrown out onto the Juggernaut, so 2 are down, buyback forced out on your Juggernaut. He needs to come in and help his teammate. Spirit Breaker will be respawning relatively soon. Crimson Guard will be on cooldown though. There's me blink forward, not going to connect on Secret. Again, another clutch blink coming out from your Queen of Pain. Blink English is not working with me today. But middle set of Raxes have been taken down by GGuard. That's the objective that they wanted. And they're going to retreat, and they forced a buyback out with this as well. And looks like they're going to go for the bottom set of T3, sorry, the bottom T3 tower, as well as set of Raxes down bottom. Because Aces, they're fighting into this 4v5 now. Their Earthshaker's not there with the Echo Slam as well as Fissures. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Aces. If they can somehow win this team fight, it will be great. But they're still going to be coming out of this with pretty much an arm and a leg gone. So we'll see how it goes. There's the charge. Going to be thrown out onto Yamate. He will blink out, so that's going to put Red in a bit of an awkward position between Winter as well as Ben. There's going to be this Burrow Strike coming out from net. That's going to keep everyone locked down on side of Aces. Juggernaut's down. They're going to try and finish up Different Heaven and onto the Shadow Fiend. He actually just ate up his cheese, but that's not going to keep him alive. He's being chased up by a Skadi Medusa. That's going to be the Shadow Fiend down. Brought back. Net will be picked up by Secret, but looks like our Queen of Pain's going to go down. Yule's going to be thrown out onto him just to keep himself alive for a little bit longer and to buy time for the blink. But unfortunately, looks like Aces, they can't just grab anything from this. They're just letting everyone on the side of GGuard go because their base is being swarmed by creeps.
The epicenter from the Sand was a little bit awkward there. He blink burrowed Sandstorm into epicenter. That's not really a combo that you see. You see it like, you know, once Sand King hits level 6, sometimes he'll make that play, but other than that, he actually did quite a bit of damage. Even though he was Eul Scepter, the epicenter still works up there. Don't ask, it just does. And the fact that, again, One Day was dead for that fight, the primary initiation there from GGuard was what won them that fight. The fact that Ling dropped his Death Ward on the low ground up to the high ground and then just destroyed the Ace's side won them that first fight, which cascaded into the second. Now that he's a Shadow Blade, it's going to be the Shaker or bust, really. No one else can interrupt that. I guess Spirit Breaker, maybe if he gets a good angle on the charge, can interrupt the Death Ward channel, but Aces, they're bottled up in their base right now, or that's the plan for GGuard at least. They won't have much mobility, not much room to maneuver, so that they could get out from the range of this Death Ward. If they do, they concede a lot of space to GGuard to get up the hill, and that's really the hardest part of the high ground push, getting up the hill and staying up the hill. But Ling, with this Witch Doctor set right now, can actually provide that for his team just by dropping the Death Ward and then going invis. And Roshan is still up, by the way. This is another cheese Roshan. We saw before the cheese not really having a great effect on different heaven, and for GGuard, where's the Medusa? She's closing in with his Satanic, so she could even turn off her mana shield and go to town on this Rosh. And for Aces, without their Juggernaut, they will most likely not be able to contest.
Yeah, they didn't even know this is actually happening, so for the moment they're just going to be bottled up together. They're just going to keep these creep waves pushed, and they will get the notification eventually that Roshan has gone down. And once they know this, though, this is going to be troublesome. Actually, down bottom, they're going to jump onto Net on the Sand King. I think he's just buying his team time at this point. Yes, he's going to die, but it will give him a free Roshan. So that's going to be the Rosh going in the way of GGuard. They lose their Sand King, but he's going to buy back because he wants to fight with his team. They don't want to prolong the game anymore. They say, okay, we got everything that we want. Let's go push up high ground yet again. We've got Cheese and Aegis. Two very important things to keep our core heroes alive, so let's go together. Double damage rune as well on the Medusa, so this creep wave is just going to completely melt. Oh my god, how is this high ground push going to be defended by Aces? They did well for the previous couple of fights where they somehow, not really team wiped GGuard, but managed to grab 4 kills and have one hero retreating. But now I feel like they're just a little bit too far behind to really kill Ben on the Medusa, and with Cheese as well, he's just way too tanky. He's got so much effective HP with that Cheese.
Well, the problem with Satanic on Medusa is that once you actually need to pop the Satanic, you don't have much mana left, so that's a good portion of the Medusa's natural survivability already down by the time you activate Lifesteal. It's still pretty good. She has 2700 HP, so it's not going to be a bad item, but they walk in, claim the range racks without much of a fight. For Aces, there's no sense fighting over that. There's no point in holding that position even. So I think that entire exchange for GGuard, though they now do have the Aegis and Cheese, was really awkward just because Net didn't have to make that play. He wasn't actually stalling up anyone, and he kind of just gave his life away and threw away a little bit of gold. And now, should he die, he won't have that buyback, so he has to get his epicenter off, or he might be in a little bit of trouble in the crackback. But GGuard, they can slow siege this all day long. They have everything they could possibly need for a slow siege, except for, I guess, a sniper. But it's a little bit too late for that. Charge coming in. It's going to go straight towards Yamate. BKB on Ren. Yamate is going to be the target focus with the Echo Slam and the Sonic Wave. Yamate is getting bounced everywhere. He is still holding on to the Aegis though, and he will go down eventually, and it will be actually just the single casualty right now. Spirit Breaker to fall, Death Ward channeled, not going to do that much, because Aces do have room to disengage, but Ben not taking any focus. He sells the Cheese, Laguna Blade onto the Shadow Fiend. None of those 3 heroes have buyback, and GGuard, they keep Yamate alive for so long. Aces drop so many skills into this Lina because they know what a threat she is. But then again, whenever you do that, you're ignoring the Medusa, and she might be a bigger threat. So that, guys, is going to be game 1. GGuard are going to take it. Not the cleanest game. In fact, it was very, very close to being disastrous for GGuard. But hey, if you win the game anyway, then the entire thing was just hilarious bad manner. So says a couple of Hearthstone players. GGuard going to take game 1, and we'll be right back, guys, for game 2 from the GGuard challenge in just a little bit. I'm Mikelorus. I'm joined by Danelie, and we'll see you in just a bit.